Hello and welcome to Hope for Today. I'm glad you're with me today, and this is going to be a really special time. Just returned from India and Nepal. God did some incredible things there. I'm so excited about the open doors. Even though both of those nations are facing persecution, the churches are rapidly growing. That's
Right.
that's what happens.
Right.
And so continue to pray for every nation that is under persecution, that God would cause their churches to move forward with power and authority.
Yeah.
Well, today I have a friend with me, Kristine O'dell. I've known Kristine now for
8 years?
8 years. And she is a multi-talented person, and the Lord is doing something fresh in her. So today, here's how I want to kind of set this up. Those of you who feel like your life is in transition, it's moving and you don't know exactly where, but you do know that there is some area of your life that is coming to a close and God is ushering you into the new. It's kind of scary when that happens.
It's not just
It shouldn't be scary, but it is.
But there is a real wrestle, I think,
Yeah.
in it that's important.
Yeah,
You
there
wrestle
is.
with God through it.
Right.
What is this? Until you really come to the understanding, no, He's moving you.
Then you understand Jacob, who had a new name,
Yes.
as Israel, after wrestling through his transition. And
Yes.
so Kristine has been going through transition, and so she's coming out to the other side. So I wanted to show you it's pretty bright, right? And happy once you get through it, because a few weeks ago it wasn't so bright.
No, it wasn't bright at all.
So
no.
I have a scripture that goes along with it, Ecclesiastes 3:1, that said there is a season for everything under the sun. And so this time of transition, you that are in transition, pay attention. Those of
Yeah.
you who aren't, like, I'm not in transition, you will be.
You will be.
You will be, because it's part of life. And so today, Kristine is going to kind of guide us through her transition and some exciting things. So welcome, Kristine.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what's God doing?
Well, God is always on the move. I think for me, it came into clarity. I'm going to tell you this statement that I heard, and I was like, I have never felt more seen in my life. But there was a prophet who, puts out words, and for me, the things that he has experienced and the things that he puts out there just typically resonate with me. And he said this, that God is restoring the reformers with PTSD. And I was like, okay, I completely understand that. But, in relation to transition, I think for me,
And
Pastor
let's
John-
explain PTSD to people.
Okay.
If you don't know what that is, it's post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
And so tell what that is a little bit.
So for me, as a reformer, would you call me a reformer? Yes.
sure.
So as a reformer, it's like God puts me in situations where there's something that I carry that the group, the body of people that he puts me in, they need that, and I need what they have, right? But we seem to be very different at the time until we really began to grow, and God begins to grow us. And he has put me in those situations over and over and over. I really typically am not looking to be an independent person. I am very highly relational, but I tend to have, as a reformer, I tend to have these assignments that kind of put me at odds at times
Right.
with things. So when I talk about PTSD, people who live under chronic stress,
Right.
there are things that begin to happen in our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, that we have to know how to really allow Jesus to unpack those things. And I would say for the longest time, I didn't know how to let the Lord do that.
Right.
I just kept doing the hard thing
Right.
until I would crash.
Yeah. So I think there are some of you that are totally connecting with Kristine right now. So I want you to really focus on this next part, because she's going to take you through what God told her and what he's doing, because he always has a plan. Jeremiah 29:11 talks about the plans God has for you, which are actually before you were even created. So what she's stepping into, God had this in mind for Kristine before you even existed.
I would say so, yes, 100%. So here is how you know that you're called to something. God is going to use your life. Your life, who you are, your life experiences, your perceptions of the way that you see things, your emotional makeup, your personality, who you are, that is who God wants to use for his purposes.
Right.
And all of us are called to be salt and light.
Yeah.
We're just to give out what God has done in us, we're to give that back out. That is ministry, like in a nutshell.
Right.
We make it really hard sometimes,
I agree.
I can make it very hard. But if I look at the reality of my life, when God saved me, I was an alcoholic. I was an abuse victim, had dealt with all kinds of abuse in my life. I was pretty much in my 20s feeling like my life was done. Like I had no future whatsoever. I didn't know how to move forward. And when God healed, well, he saved me and he radically healed me in some ways, radically delivered me in various ways. And then he sent me back out. Now where he sent me out to was kind of frightening for me, but it was with a lot of people who were dealing with a lot of abusive situations or life altering situations that they needed some rescue in.
Right.
And so I was involved in pro-life ministry for years, front lines. And, honestly, who I always connected with, I mean, we had a message. We have to care for those that can't care for themselves. Right. We have to speak up for the most vulnerable in our nation, right? But my heart was always for the mom. Who is helping her?
Yeah.
Who's going to help her walk when she leaves this place? Who's going to help her? Like, that was always my heart. And the Lord allowed me to do that ministry for a long time. And then what began to happen to me is I crashed. They called it at the time fibromyalgia, which that is a widely, diagnosed condition these days.
Right.
But back then we didn't have any answers for it. I can tell you what it is now.
Okay. Tell us.
It is trauma-related illness.
I agree.
Where there are things internally that you are not dealing with, and it's just overwhelming your system and your body until you crash.
Right.
So I learned a lot, but I didn't know these answers back then. But then 100% the Lord healed me again and sent me back out on assignment. And I'm so thankful because that's what I want him to do.
Right.
I always want to be on the assignment of the Lord. But it seems like I've had these cycles where I'm doing the things that he wants me to do. And typically they're very difficult. I'm just going to say they've been very difficult. But they've been joyful in the sense that I know that I'm walking with him. And then it's like I crash. So here I am, all of that to say, here I am today, coming out of a season that I thought I was going one way, right? And then all of this stuff began to happen again. And now I can see, just like he said, that I have learned things all along the way that all seem to be converging right now to help people. We are living in a nation right now that I think people are more traumatized, living under chronic stress, living in chronic fear than I ever remember,
Right. And I just got back from 2 other nations. Was in another nation 6 weeks ago. I think they are as stressed out as Americans.
Yeah.
It's worldwide now. It's global.
Yeah.
We're all connected. It's just a troubling season we're in.
It's troubling. We've gone through a lot of trouble. I remember after when we were all, sheltered in place during COVID-19, I remember walking in the grocery store and seeing people with masks and just fear in their eyes. And my initial thought was, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen because I had already walked through that kind of thing for so long. And I was like, we're not getting out of this without this chronic fear-related illness.
Well, when you have to wash your potato chip bag,
it's ridiculous.
And disinfect your mail, and you don't know what's going to happen out of it.
Right.
It is traumatizing. And then people were forced to stay in their homes with people they thought they got along well with until it was 24/7. It's like, wow, they needed a break. So it was a lot.
It was a lot.
And we're still living it,
and we're
aren't we?
still living a lot. So I would say maybe 3 weeks ago I had a prayer burden because I've been just in my house basically trying to get well, but really this time opening up the knowledge that I lacked years ago.
So let me ask you this, because this will be helpful to people, especially we're going to pray for people who have autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia in particular. you have, I think, kind of cracked your case
Right.
of these cycles crash, cycles
Right.
crash. How will you not crash again?
Well, that's a great question, and one that my counselor asked me, just a couple of weeks ago. But I think the knowledge, the understanding of what's happening, because when you don't understand what's happening, you just continue to do what you know to do.
And I'm glad you said that. The knowledge of the truth does what?
Set you free.
Sets you free. And so if you go through these patterns, we're talking to you, and you do well, then you crash, and you have to start over and crash. Get knowledge of why you're crashing,
Right.
and it will set you free from ever doing it again.
From ever doing it again. And the understanding that, I think we are living in a day and age where we're understanding central nervous system dysregulation and
Right.
what that does. The problem that I see, though, with a lot of the information out there is it's just kind of leaving you there. And for somebody who's dealing with that kind of illness, that's overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you don't know how to take in all
it really
that
is
information.
debilitating, isn't it?
It's kind of debilitating. Now I have to learn a whole new way of life. That's
Yeah.
scary in itself.
And your family and friends have to adapt.
And you can't explain it to them
Right.
because they don't understand.
And I've talked to a lot of people with autoimmune diseases, and a lot of their friends and family think they're hypochondriacs.
Exactly.
Like,
It's
I
kind
wonder
of
if they're
like
really that sick.
that medical gaslighting. You
Yeah.
go to the doctor
Yeah.
and you're not heard,
Right.
and then you're just left feeling like, I don't know. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know what to do. But here's the beautiful thing. Jesus is always rewriting our story.
He is.
Always rewriting our story. And that's what I've learned needs to happen in our central nervous system.
Yeah, that's good.
That trauma related, I think we're becoming very trauma informed and understanding that aspect of things. But I also think that a lot of that that's out there is very self-help, or it has a very Eastern, religious attachment to it. And what we really need to understand is this is the work of Jesus, that he does rewrite our story.
Right.
That is the whole purpose of, he has saved you and he's working to remake you into his image. And so if we can come to an understanding that our central nervous systems are holding on to things in the past, even if we're trying to move forward in our thinking, our bodies themselves are holding on to things, and there's a whole cycle of healing that needs to take place that's holistic.
Yes.
So Jesus heals the mind, the body, the soul,
All of it.
all emotions, all of
I'm
us.
glad you brought up the different ways that people deal with this, and even the Eastern influence. I was in a nation last week that has a heavy population of Buddhists, and they kept talking about peace, peace, how much peace they had. And when you would go around their properties, you just feel peace. But it was more of a peace of mind, not a peace of spirit.
Right.
So if they do the things, if they do the yoga, they do the workouts, they say the chants, they do all the things, then they have peace of mind. And Christ goes beyond that.
Yes.
He starts in the spirit, and then it manifests in our mind and our
Yes.
body.
Yes.
So that's what you're getting at. It has to
Yes.
happen in the spirit.
Yes, absolutely. He brings shalom, which is wholeness.
Yes.
But it has to come from that relationship with him. It has to come from us really living in his presence. That sense of wholeness that he does in us is not something we have to constantly work toward. Now, is there something that I need to do to not, partner with my old
Right.
patterns? Of course.
Right.
But it's Jesus who actually brings the healing and the wholeness.
Well, would
that
you
we need.
speak into people who have any autoimmune diseases right now? Whatever you feel like they need to hear from the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. Autoimmunity is really self-rejection. It really is a sense of self-rejection. Even if we don't have the full understanding that that's what we're operating out of. So I would say to you that have gone to the doctor and haven't found any answers except for to be put on medication that makes you feel worse. You that have tried and tried and tried to find the right answer and just can't. A lot like the woman, with the issue of blood that had suffered at the hands of the doctors even, right? I would say to you that Jesus has wholeness for you, that your healing is found in him. And he knows how to take all the broken pieces of the things that you don't know what to do with and make something beautiful. Very often, we want it to look like something we thought it was supposed to look like way back here. But sometimes he does that. But more often than not, what he does is he brings beauty out of ashes. He creates something new. That's what I'm finding. He's creating something new in my life. He's moved me beyond all the things back here, and he's moving me forward into something new. And that's what he has for you. And so often autoimmunity really is that deep sense of rejection and pain and trauma and all the things that you just don't know how to free yourself from. So I just want to speak that over you. Ask Jesus. You get before him honestly and openly and tell him, I am an open book. Rewrite my story however you want to rewrite it. But I know that I'm the lead character in my story, and you have a perfect narrative for me. You have redemption for me. You have love and peace and joy and hope and all these things that we get as a result of what Jesus did on the cross. All of it is for you. It's not just for me. It's not just for John. It's for you. Jesus does have favorites, and every one of us that call upon his name and look to him to heal us, he calls us his favorite. Right. Every single one of us, and that includes you.
Wow. Thank you, Kristine. That was great. So I hope you ingest that into your spirit and take it to heart and really ask Jesus to do the work in you.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition now to what are you doing? What has he moved you into?
Okay, so
you're still doing your publishing company. She has 8 Owls Publishing.
Yes.
Published with her. She's great. Here's some information. If you want to reach her, fantastic to work with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have 8 Owls Publishing, but I have started a company called Jubilee Seasons. So all of the things that I am learning about trauma-related illness, how to steward my health, because Jesus has called us into stewarding our health, right? I don't want to continue to cycle through things. I want to walk into wholeness. All of those things, I'm going to be writing a blog about it. I've got a digital magazine that I'm creating because I really want to get that information out there for people. I right now am working on a adult coloring devotional. That's a mindfulness tool, but it's the message of the gospel. So, and it's very simple. We don't go into depths. It's really just to kind of help us unpack. Just like we talked about it a minute ago, help us unpack what's happening on the inside of us and put it in the framework of the gospel and the compassionate nature of Jesus, and how that is what he does, is heal us through and through. I'm also crafting herbal teas. There are so much that a lot of us, especially if you've been in the condition that I've been in, I'm very sensitive to medication. I go to the doctor. They literally tell me, if you're not going to do anything I tell you to do, Kristine, why do you come see me? And I'm like, because I'm looking for answers. But that's a good question. Right. I don't know. So I have found some more naturalistic ways of allowing my body, to find the support that it needs. And so I want to offer those products as well.
That's awesome. So that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot,
yeah.
But it's doable.
It's doable.
And it fits you.
It does fit me.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, like you said, it's kind of been in the making all of my life.
It's your story.
It is my story.
The best thing we can do is something we enjoy doing.
Right.
And these are things that helped you in your recovery.
Yeah.
And you mentioned coloring book. I love that. That's about all I could do when I came out of COVID and had COVID brain. It really helped me heal.
Exactly.
And so it's a therapeutic tool. And probably the story of the book the coloring book is also therapeutic.
Yes.
So
I think we comfort with the comfort we've been given.
So,
oh, you did Disney stuff.
So I needed your coloring book.
Well,
it wasn't out there.
Mine is houseplants, because that's what I like.
That's good. Well, that's good. Well, I'm so happy for you, and I'm happy for anybody listening, watching, that says, I'm ready, I'm in transition, I'm ready to get there.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it feels like when you're in transition that it's going to go on forever, but it's not.
It doesn't.
The harder you hang on to your past that the Lord is trying to help you to move from, that's the longer it takes, isn't
Right,
it? That part,
yes.
because we're afraid, we don't know what the future looks like. But with God, it's always better and bigger
Right.
and brighter.
Right,
And
yes.
I think for you, Kristine, this is the bigger and brighter. I've known you 8 years, and this sounds like the most of anything that fits you.
I think so too.
So I'm
yeah.
excited to see it and looking forward to what God's going to do. So there's information down here right now about her teas and about the coloring books. And so you can go online and check
Yeah.
her out, check out her products, and let her know what's going on and how they help you. These would be fantastic Christmas gifts.
They sure would.
We all know about 20 people that need them. So
Our website should be up and running here, maybe in about a month. So we're
Okay.
in production stage.
yeah, so
for
we'll go ahead and put that up and kind of show you some pictures of what she's doing and take advantage of it. And if you want to publish a book, she's fantastic at that. She can even help you with ghostwriting. She has other writers working with her. She is anointed and will capture your voice. So thank you for being with us today. And I just want to bless you in the name of the Lord and speak peace of your spirit.
Yes.
Not just peace of mind, peace of your spirit
Yes.
that will go into your body, into your mind, into your emotions. Every part of you will be at peace. And he is Jesus, the Prince of Peace.
Prince of Peace.
Prince of Peace. And back to Ecclesiastes 3:1, there is a season for everything. And if you're in transition, we here in Texas, the United States, are going through a transition from, we're in Texas, so we're still transitioning from summer to our short autumn.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a short winter, and then we have a long spring, summer mix.
Yes.
But we're transitioning, so we don't know how to dress during these times. So Kristine and
This
I
is why we look
are kind
so
of, we're kind of springy colors today because it feels like our spring. But it can be that confusing in transition
Yeah.
of your emotional or spiritual
Yes.
or even job, family transitions. You don't know how to act and how to fit and what to wear, but God will see you through it.
He
You're going
sure
to make
will.
it through,
He sure
and
will.
you will be better, bigger, and stronger and bolder because of it. So,
Yeah.
Kristine, thank you for your time today. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being vulnerable with us and sharing your story, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
God bless. Love you guys.